Hello and welcome to DCB Live episode number 251, the slide or not slide edition from Asgard.
Just gonna slide into that TWAB today.
Slid on in from Midgard, and it was very stressful, and I'm a little sleepy.
Yeah, we killed a lot of Jotun today.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah, and none of them were mad about the toaster. Weird.
Yeah, there was not a single toaster issue in Asgard.
No, there were no toaster issues.
Strange, right? So strange.
That game was hella fun. I gotta say, like, I was just having a blast. What did we stream? 5.5 hours?
Yeah.
So, having a hell of a time the whole time.
For anybody curious, we just got done doing a 5.5-hour stream of playing Tribes of Midgard. And it was a sponsored stream from Gearbox, so thank you, Gearbox, for doing that. But that's why we are just coming off of that and suddenly jumping into a Destiny podcast where there's quite a bit of stuff to talk about today.
There is. Let's just say my mind ain't quite in it.
It's a beefy TWAB.
Mylan's here. Mylan's mind's in it. He's got it.
Yeah.
He will do all the arguing for all of us.
Yeah. How many rounds do you want to go, Mylan?
I just like how you baited everyone with this slide and then immediately switch topics.
That's how I do, man.
You know what, kids?
It's because I'm trying to butter everybody up, you know? Be like, it's like wasabi, you know? You got to have a little bit goes a long way, right? Got to pace it out.
A bit spicy. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, once we get through the spice of the TWAB, I've got plenty of lore spice for you.
Excellent.
It's gonna be
if you want to argue about lore and
that.
ladies or sliding and shooting.
Yeah, that way we can offend the whole community. We'll get the PvP guys first, then we get
This
the
is
lore
great.
kids afterwards.
We're basically going for the algorithm, offending everyone, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you do
It's
it,
called
right?
engagement. It's called engagement, mate.
It's called engagement. Smash the like or dislike button, whichever you prefer, you know?
Leave a comment about how much you hate us.
Yeah. What's just like, please stop. Please, I can see this.
I blanked out a little bit there. Not gonna lie. I don't know what's happening. So there was a TWAB.
Yeah. Should we just jump into it?
Do you want to do Joe's tweets first? Because they go through
Yeah.
them a little
That
bit.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably start
before
with that. Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's pull up Joe Goroth. Okay. There we go. So, Joe Blackburn, also known as Joe Goroth on Twitter, put out a lot of tweets to talk about a little
Did
bit
a
of
long
PvP
thread.
stuff. It's a
It's
very
like
long
5 or
thread
6,
on Twitter.
right? 5 or 6 posts of the thread?
Many posts. A lot more, actually.
Was it more than 5 or 6? Wow, yeah,
Like
I read them
a
all,
billion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Okay.
13, 14,
Way
15.
more.
I can't even count. There's
but way
so many.
more.
That's literally more than 15.
Is
That's
that
basically infinite.
more than the days that we survived in Tribes of Midgard?
No.
Did you know that Glad survived to day 76 on his own?
Whoa. Hacks, obviously.
We're
Has he
at
played more than
least-
once?
We're at least as good as Glad together. No, we're not. Okay, so Joe Blackburn put out a bunch of tweets about PvP. So I'm just
Yes.
gonna read them and then we can just react at the end of it because it's a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
So ahead of the showcase this month, I wanted to take a little time to talk about Destiny PvP. Competitive modes are part of what makes this game special. I can't imagine a version of Destiny 2 that doesn't involve getting a sweet new gun and taking it for a spin in the Crucible. This year, the team has spent a lot of our future-facing effort on plushing up some of the current Crucible experience. You've seen some of this already in stasis balancing, reputation updates, and shifting weapon metas. Next season, you'll continue to see this effort with not only changes to 3-peaking, but also what the team has been planning for the revamp of Trials of Osiris. And it does say tune in 8/24 for more info on that. So it does look like during the showcase on the 24th, we will be hearing about the Trials revamp, which is
That's interesting.
exciting.
Yeah.
We've got to keep our foot on the gas when it comes to revitalizing PvP pursuits and keeping gameplay metas fresh. This isn't something we'll ever be done with, but we know we also have room to grow when it comes to new maps and modes. The first half of 2021, we've been working on the foundation, but now we're spinning up teams on new maps and modes. We believe in this investment, but it's going to take some time before you start seeing results in the game. The ultimate goal here is consistency. If you play PvP, the team wants you to understand that you'll be getting new maps and modes every year, and that the cadence of those coming out feels predictable. But in order to get predictable, we need to open the faucet again. New maps take time to get right, so to open the faucet for Season 16, the team is working on porting 2 vaulted Destiny 2 maps to be compatible with our engine updates. When we upgraded our engine with Beyond Light, it means we had to hand port all of our Destiny 2 maps and modes. So while it may seem from the outside that we're just pushing a button, there's a significant lift from the team to get more of this content back in rotation. After reprised maps in Season 16, so Season 15 is next. So we're coming up to Season 15 this month. So this is the season after that, which is Witch Queen season, right?
Yep.
After Season 17, so the season after Witch Queen, will come with a brand new map. There are a bunch of new environments in Destiny 2, and we're excited to start bringing them into the Crucible. Finally, after those 3 maps are added in the rotation in Season 16 and 17, we will be remastering a Destiny 1 map and bringing it to Destiny 2 for the first time in Season 18. All this effort is going to be done in parallel with the team looking to fund the far future with a predictable roadmap of maps in Lightfall and beyond. But maps are just part of the recipe here. We also know we need to support modes. There are 3 main efforts going on behind the scenes here. First, the team is investigating getting Rift in Destiny 2 next year. 2022 Rift.
I was happy to hear that.
I was very happy about that. It's been too long since we've dunked on some Guardians. The Destiny sandbox is sped up in Destiny 2, so right now the team is validating that the mode still holds up with our new gameplay. Second, the team is working on multiple brand new modes for 2022. We aren't quite ready to spoil these yet, but we're excited to offer new twists and rules to the ways you can make Shaxx proud. Finally, after the dust settles on the Trials update in Season 15, we want to look at what other broad systemic improvements the PvP ecosystem needs. We want to provide something on the scale of this Trials rework to players every year. So this tweet thread has turned into a tweet novel, but I wanted to make sure we shed some light on what's going on behind the scenes. Overall, we're still very interested in growing the amount of Destiny we make every year. One way to hold me accountable by looking at our careers page. We're looking for environment artists, gameplay designers, lighting artists, and more to help improve our PvP output. We know you want more Destiny, and we're committed to growing the team that's going to make that possible. And then they talk about it's risky to talk about stuff ahead of time, but so they're hiring more people to what sounds like specifically to put out more maps and more modes every year for PvP. That's the cadence they want to hit eventually. Is every year you're getting something,
New maps.
is a lot more than what we have right now.
We're coming up on 2 years without a new map.
It's a low bar, really.
Yeah. I know, and I know it's a low bar. I know that it's like, why are you happy about this? And it's like, because to be honest, they haven't even talked to us about PvP at all for a very long time. It has really felt, as someone who plays pretty much not exclusively PvP, but mainly PvP in Destiny, it's kind of felt like PvP is just like, yeah, it's there, it's cool. We don't want to get rid of it, but we don't really necessarily want to invest much into it. So for me, it was just nice to know that they are hiring people to invest more into PvP to have that.
Yeah, it's nice to know that they're not just going to cut off the limb from it dying. They're like, let's nurse this thing back. It may have some gangrene right now, but we're going to fix that.
I guess like the critical perspective is, why are we only talking about like a cadence of new maps like now? And even, it's been so long, so it wasn't the plan before to have regular new maps and regular things. And, of course, like I'm happy for the news and that's good. I am a bit concerned that it might be, there's things like Halo Infinite and Battlefield and some other, Splitgate that might grab people's attention. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when we get to, season 18 really, when we start seeing some really different maps and modes.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is that a lot of us, I know I was expecting to at least hear about PvP in the big director's cut that we have, because that's a time where they talk about everything, all the plans. And I was like, they're not talking about it still. What's going on? So I think absolutely, I would have just liked communication before this. Like if the communication before this is we're hiring new people and this is what we want to do, that's fine. But just kind of sweeping it under the rug and ignoring it
It doesn't
felt
sound
very
like
bad.
there was anything to communicate before this, though. If they're only now ramping up, like
right,
they're
hiring today.
They're hiring now, right? Like, so season 18 is what, a year away? We could expect that like a year from now.
About a year-ish. Since
let's
we're about
see,
to have a
so-
5 or 6 month season, it's kind of
it's gonna be
about a year-ish.
15. Let's say Witch Queen comes out. Let's say February or something. Might be it, early Feb, because
Yeah,
it's
then
not
season
coming
after
out in
that.
January because of Elden Ring, so that's illegal.
Yeah.
So it has to be February. And that would be season 17, and then 3 months after that. So we're looking at June for season 18.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Roundabout.
That is a super long time. I mean, I'm happy to hear this too, but I'm only happy that we're finally like hearing something, but I'm not overjoyed by any means because like this is not like, yeah, next season we got all this awesome stuff planned. You've never seen it before. It's going to be amazing. And then this year after, or the season after that, oh my God, this is, well, we're going to bring some stuff back. Give us some time. It takes a while to bring that stuff back. And then in about a year, you might see some more stuff.
Well, this is what I'm saying, Briar, is that I understand they updated the engine. So if they're bringing things back or adding things, it all needs to be done in the new engine. But I would have loved for them to just say that, like, we have updated our engine with Beyond Light. So
Yeah,
this
when
stuff
Beyond
is going
Light
to take us a little bit
launched.
longer.
Yeah, when they actually launched Beyond Light, that's when they should have said, hey, we've had to completely redo everything, and each map requires hand crafting it back into the new engine. Then I've been like, oh, I understand why some of this stuff is getting vaulted, and it's taking time to bring stuff back. But like, you know, it's 9 months later, and it's been almost 2 years since we've had a new map. So there's clearly a lack of, there's been this lack of communication for PvP that makes us feel very much like, yeah, that darn Crucible.
And like, I get it, right? They say this and everyone's pissed off, and then they're like, why do I even say anything? I get it. Talking to people is annoying. I understand. But you definitely have to communicate. Even if there's not much to say, just that, like, look, we know we haven't put any maps. We know we haven't talked about any maps. We understand totally. Just to be acknowledged, you know?
Right.
We'll share with the information when we can.
Yeah.
Like, we've just been ignored for like a very long time.
Well, also the stuff that they have done as well, it's like it's been little incremental bits, but nothing that's truly moved the needle for PvP dramatically. And I think that's the biggest red flag for me. Like, again, I'm happy to hear something. So don't take this wrong. I'm happy to hear about information about things coming in the future, the potential in quotations about new modes. Like Rift isn't guaranteed. They're saying they're going to see if it works. So this is definitely a ways out and all that. But the things that they've already done, I don't feel like has really made people say, oh, I'm excited to get back into the Crucible and play more of it. I feel like, like the sandbox changes that have happened have been either Band-Aids or here's this other glaring problem that suddenly exists now because we adjusted the meta in some way, shifted like the sandbox. And
I think obviously we're all happy to hear things. We're all happy to hear that the just someone saying,
I don't know, maybe I'm not
PvP.
actually happy. Maybe I'm
You're
just
not
saying
happy?
I'm happy. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I just feel like I've been abandoned for 2 years and like I finally got noticed, and now I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you had abandoned me for 2 years, but now I know you did.
Oh my God, it does feel that way.
You're not breaking up with me, I'm breaking up with you.
Oh, wow.
So I'll say this. I know that Trials isn't everyone's cup of tea. But I am happy to hear the big thing that could be a big thing of injecting people into the population and enjoying PvP and wanting to try it out is the Trials rework. They've said they wanted to have the ability for solo people to be able to be in Trials. So it's a rework. It's not just going to be, hey, we're adding a new gun or we're adding some new armor. It's actually fundamentally changing the way Trials works. I just wish we could get that for regular PvP because that's the PvP that people play the most. And people aren't going to
Absolutely.
want to hit up Trials if the regular PvP experience isn't rewarding.
Is this the
them.
third time they've reworked Trials in Destiny 2?
Yeah, I think
For
so.
a rework?
Well, technically, the
Yeah.
first Trials of the Nine was a rework originally.
Yeah.
Trials of the Nine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like, let's revamp this for Destiny 2 standards.
I think that what's going to get people back is going to come down to like you say, Tef, like the new modes. Do they
Yeah.
move the needle? Like the new, is there some game mode that get people excited about PvP in a map? Because if it's not, like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of other appealing games that people can scratch their PvP
Penis? PvP penis?
EPs on.
Dude, I am very excited for Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Back
hell
myself
yeah.
in the corner there.
Yeah, dude, when everything I've seen about Halo Infinite, I'm like, oh, I think this is going to be my new PvP love. Because, like, I said it in a tweet, I was like, the Crucible for me is basically died out. Like, I don't really have an interest in jumping in the Crucible and just putzing around. It's like one game, and I'm like, yeah, for me, it goes one game. I'm like, that was annoying. Second game, I'm like, why am I playing this? And third game, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to play PvP anymore. And then the cycle repeats like monthly.
I think for me recently, not Trials, but PvP has been pretty good. Like the sandbox is feeling pretty good. Things are feeling a lot more even. You can use a lot more guns, even against people that are using, the best stuff. So I feel like the sandbox itself is actually not in a bad spot. New modes is going to be what's really exciting. It's just, man, it's hard to make sure you get that right because like Bob in chat said Breakthrough was a new mode and no one played it. So them making a new mode doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good mode that people are going to want to play.
Yeah.
And what's a good mode, right? I'm sure it's not easy to make a good mode, but hopefully it sticks with people.
Gun game with exotics. Give me that.
Oh my God.
That
I
would
would
be
love
great,
that.
yeah.
That'd be
I
incredible.
would love
That'd be
gun
great.
game. It doesn't even have to have exotics. It could just be as long as it's the same like progression for everybody in the match. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I used to love playing good game in COD.
That's fun. That's silly.
Yeah, so
You could do it for Bright Dust. Throw down for Bright Dust.
Oh man.
oh, that would be amazing. But so again, like just to reiterate, hearing Joe talk about this stuff, it's great. It's like, oh yeah,
Yes.
you guys do understand that PvP is missing something, and like there's definitely a void of stuff and information that we've been wanting. But hearing that it's been like, I think I saw Incooch say something about it being basically a year or a year and a half too late. And I know that's brutal to say that, to be like, hey, too late, man. Even though I'm probably going to play your game anyways. Like, but the timing really is late for them to start bringing this up now and also start talking about how they're going to be hiring people to deliver these assets. It's like, you weren't doing that a year ago to deliver these assets that are missing, and then talking about a new mode that sounds like it won't even see the light of day until halfway through next year. Like, that's a long way,
Yeah, it is.
Just keeping it real.
Most of the time, I really like when Bungie talks, but this time it might have been better if they just kind of drop new stuff on us eventually.
Yeah, I was thinking that too almost, but it's hard. Like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you don't, you get called out for not communicating. If you do and you announce stuff too early, I mean, you have this conversation, but
yeah. And if you drop old stuff first, that's gonna ignite people too. Like, oh, we unvaulted a couple of maps, and that's the first new unquote map that you get in 2 years.
I don't think there's any good way for them to go about this. Really, I really don't.
This is-
Unless they were just open communicating about it from the very beginning.
this is
At
literally
least they're
just saying
talking about it, though, I guess,
we're
right?
committing. Yeah, this is just like confirming that we are committing to developing PvP. Is sort of what this announcement is, right?
Yeah.
That's
That would not.
exactly. Yeah.
And
So-
it's going to take time.
I guess when you look at the trajectory of what's happened, it's felt like they didn't do anything about PvP with Beyond Light, and then Beyond Light happened, and then it was like PvP is a problem because of Beyond Light. Stasis really like screwed things up, and then they've been playing whack-a-mole with Stasis for 6 months almost, or maybe longer. And now it's like, okay, now that we worked this stuff out, let's get back to figuring out this PvP problem. You know? That's what it feels like. And I get it. The world has had problems. COVID has happened and all that stuff. And totally, I totally understand that PvP development timelines may have been stressed out from that, but it just feels like other things have been being developed and the PvP side has been legitimately ignored. Aside from sandbox stuff.
I think Destiny's also had these big like foundational changes, with crossplay and their engine update. And so, as a consumer, you try to understand that you need to get your foundation right and you need to sort a lot of this stuff out. But also as a consumer, you sort of like, where's the content?
Exactly.
And I think everyone can see that they're doing all this work, but that doesn't necessarily translate into what you see in the game. Like you don't go, oh, there's a new engine Beyond Light, but they needed to do it and they need to remove maps for it. So
yeah, true. For sure. Yeah. I would not want to have that problem. Like it sounds like it's super complex.
There's
unbelievable science issue that I would not have to crack. So
there's a big reason why people don't make these games anymore. There was a big like, yeah, let's all do games as a service. Woohoo, fun times. And then everyone's like, nope, no, thank you. There's developers who have moved from, games as a service to other studios because it's just so much pressure and work and time to put out new content consistently on schedule every time. It's just a pain in the ass. No one wants to do it anymore. But of course, this is Destiny, and Destiny is Bungie's moneymaker. So gotta keep making Destiny.
Yeah.
It kind of, for me, I guess it kind of feels like they've almost hit their stride of what they want to do with seasons for like seasonal activities, seasonal story. And now it's like, all right, we feel like we maybe are sort of okay with this. Let's move to addressing some other problems.
Like Gambit.
We'll
you know what I'm saying? Gambit.
They actually, Joe talked a little bit about Gambit on Twitter, which I'll say real quick because Paul Tassi said, Joe, where's the Gambit thread? And Joe said, didn't want to derail the thread. Long term, we want to get people working on new maps. Currently, we're playtesting all up Gambit Foundation changes for Season 16, focusing on heavy ammo economy, primeval, invasion cadence, power, and more. So Season 16 is looking like you're getting a lot of Gambit changes.
Like, do you think a new map?
Oh, they said they're working on a new map.
Well, working and delivering is two different things. Could be Season 18. We get the Gambit map. Yeah.
I mean, probably, if not further than that. If they only have if they have map people working on maps, they're going to be working on PvP maps.
Oh man, I even though I give Gambit a hard time, like I actually really do enjoy Gambit when I do play it, which isn't too often nowadays, but still. PvP, I don't walk away with a smile. Gambit, I'm usually like, that was fun. Yeah.
Anyone?
I don't mind playing Gambit, but I guess I actually still enjoy Destiny. So I don't have I don't have as much to complain about as other people because I actually enjoy Destiny. So
I mean, I enjoy Destiny too, but I definitely do not like where PvP is at right now. In general, I get the tweaks, and the tweaks feel like just band-aids to me. Like I think back to D1 days, the majority of D1 days, I could play D1 PvP for a long time. There was times where I'd get salty over it, but I'd always come back to it. It's not the case today.
You're also
should we
playing
talk about
a lot less Destiny, right? In general, you're playing a lot less Destiny than D1.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We talk about the TWAB a little.
Yeah, talking about salt.
Big TWAB. Massive. Absolutely massive.
Watts, I nominate you for the best TWAB reader
Seconded.
ever.
Third.
I'm going to be so sick after this, but I'll do my best. Okay, so they say that they're going to be delivering stuff about the sandbox in 3 updates in the TWAB. So today in this TWAB, they're talking about the sandbox, all that stuff with abilities. And then next week is going to be mods. And then after that is going to be weapons. So we're going to be getting probably three juicy TWABs from here until, the next season drops. So yeah, this one is all about abilities. So they're talking to Eric Smith about the abilities patch that they're bringing in season 15. So first thing is separate melee actions. Basically, there's a whole big thing right up about this, but you're going to be able to select a keybind on a controller or on a keyboard or on a mouse to throw your melee ability instead of punching.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Beautiful.
Right.
This is just
really
flat out awesome.
Thank God.
I was a little bit surprised when Destiny 2 came out on PC and you couldn't bind those separately.
Yeah,
I was a little bit surprised. Like it wasn't enough to like really bother me, but I was a little surprised. And then I said, well, you only got so many buttons on a controller, but now that you can bind them to 2 separate actions, that's awesome. I mean, you're never going to throw a knife by accident again. Well, I will, but most people, good players, won't.
I just don't think I've got any more buttons left.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, they said they recommended the pushing in the right stick for like the regular melee. Kind of like Call of Duty, actually.
What I would
right?
do,
Yeah.
because it's just used for inspecting people, right? It highlights them as pretty much all the right stick. Because if you're on default, that's all the right stick does. So I would personally put it on there on controller. Obviously, on a keyboard, you have a little bit more options available to you.
Yeah.
But there are some details about it. So it does say melee attacks trigger as soon as the button is pressed, not when it's released. Melee attacks don't wait to see if you're still holding the button before starting. This means you can't set any of the melee actions to a long press or a double press.
Yeah.
And it also says that these are going to be options under the setting menu. So default, it's going to be exactly how it is now, where it tries to see how close you are to an enemy. But if it's something that you want to have to be able to choose the actual melee attack or the melee ability, you can go into settings and do that.
Yeah.
That's important to note, right? It's no change unless you want to change it.
Right. So if you're just like my mom playing Destiny, she's just trying to chill, play some Destiny. I don't think she really cares if she throws it or punches. But if you care about it, you'll be able to do that, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you'll be able to point blank throw knives at people and get headshots.
Oh, it's going to be so nice. Especially throwing smoke. I find that I want to throw smoke
bombs.
a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because you blind them, it's all that good stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, this is where things get crazy. So they're talking to Kevin
Crazy.
Yanez. Mr. Kevin is back, talking about the Season 15 Ability Balance Pass. So the first thing they start off with is general abilities, and they're talking about Stasis Freeze. So players will now be able to be frozen and initiate the breakout while airborne. So you're not in the air. You don't have to wait until you drop to the floor. You can start breaking out right away. They've also shortened the breakout animation and camera transition. This means that once you decide to break out, you'll be able to fight back sooner. And they've also differentiated long freeze and short freeze visual treatment to make the status easier to identify. This is really good because so many people, I've frozen them with something that keeps them frozen for like a millisecond. And they just stand there like, I'm dead. I know I'm dead. It's all over. Take me out. And they're not dead. They're actually fine.
Yeah. Yep.
They could totally kill me, but they just kind of stand there. So yeah, I mean that's all
nice. Good change. Yeah.
good.
Yep.
You know what's next, guys?
The slide of the electric slide.
Now, for this
Ooh,
one, I
love the
am gonna
electric slide.
read. I'm gonna read not just the changes, but their thoughts on it, so we can try and understand where it's coming from. So the goal of this slide change is to slightly reduce the effectiveness of sliding into engagements to gain the upper hand. Even after the shotgun changes were made last season, sliding into every engagement with a shotgun or any weapon is still incredibly effective, and run and gun playstyles are very low risk. This is a change that looks scarier on paper than it feels in practice, in our opinion, and we'll continue to monitor how it plays out. So the changes are, while sliding, players now incur the following weapon penalties: minus 20 stability, plus 15% shotgun pellet spread, and 1.5 times flinch.
Ridiculous. Absolutely. Oh, wait. What are we talking about?
15% shotgun pellet spread.
How big a difference is that? 15%.
Hey, Mylan, you know?
Like,
Ask me a lore question, please.
What's the lore behind the shotgun spread?
15%.
Mate, you've got a whole group of people that look after the aim assist cones, okay? You've got the wrong person on the potty today.
Mylan, I've seen you play PvP. You know what you're talking about. I've seen it.
Well, look, obviously people are angry about this, right, with sliding into engagements with shotgun use, and they feel like it's nerfing movement. But your movement's the same, right? It's a weapon penalty. So I think it's going to be one of those things where you have to see how it actually plays out. You can still slide around. You just
they didn't take away your slide.
It does say while sliding, so it's not going to be when the slide ends, I assume. Like if you slide and you stop, you're no longer sliding, right?
If you think about sliding, you get the penalty while you're playing. Do you even
if you've ever slid in the past?
There's not like a timer on it where sliding is 5 seconds after sliding. It's I actually think that the shotgun thing is kind of interesting and an interesting way to make it to where people have to be closer to enemies to kill them effectively. The other stuff I'm not sure about. Especially if you're like a sniper and you slide and scope in and you just go whoop, flinch all over the place. Don't know about that.
It's all the other guns, right? You're not gonna be able to.
Yeah, this is all guns.
Use movement to handgun, sniper rifles, like sliding
everything.
Into that.
Yeah,
it's not going to be
while sliding.
Yeah, while sliding. So obviously the biggest one is the shotgun spread, and it definitely sounds like they want people to be closer. Like less range essentially to get that final kill, because you're going to have to it remains to be seen how close you need to be to reliably get that kill while sliding, because 15% is significant.
Want, right?
Yeah, but maybe they, on the flip side, if they just wanted shotgun kills to be closer, they should have reduced the range, but I know people would complain even more about that. So I don't know, like I'm trying to think of the times when I wouldn't slide with the shotgun.
Yeah, you just do slide.
You could jump.
Slide with shotgun.
Jump. I guess jump shotgun.
Maybe people start jumping instead.
No
more sliding.
Don't you already get a penalty though for aiming in air?
Yeah, didn't they already nerf that?
Yes.
Yeah, you already get like the aim gets penalized for being in air. Yeah, I'm trying to think of when you would actually not slide with a shotgun in PvP, running around.
So if it's as long as it's only while you're sliding, then I think this won't be that bad. Maybe players just have to then change get used to the end of the end of the slide animation is and then shoot. And maybe that's the thing that people start doing. But as long as there's not like a cooldown or a little thing that happens after you're done sliding. I hope it doesn't linger.
Yeah, for sure.
If it doesn't linger, I think this isn't that bad.
Yeah, on the surface of this, it makes sense. You're getting a significant bonus in like evasion by sliding, and this is just, well, now you have a choice. Do I want, there's give and take now to sliding. The problem is we've been doing this for 6 years without.
Right.
Yeah, it's ingrained. It is deep in Destiny players right now. Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that they added in like the 7th year of Destiny.
Right. I guess like if you think about it, it is weird that you could slide out like really far in front of someone and not have a penalty for your shotgun spray. So it's like maybe they want people to make sure that they're going to be able to slide in for a guaranteed kill. But it just I guess it doesn't seem like that would be the way to do it, is give you a shotgun penalty or a shotgun pellet spread penalty for just sliding. It seems like it would have been in other departments right there. I don't think the penalty for stability and flinch is bad for sliding, personally.
Shotgun, but on a different weapon, it could be. I don't know what it's gonna feel like. So maybe we can't even feel it, right? Maybe we can't even feel it when it happens. Maybe it makes sliding, shooting any single fire weapon at all feel like the most inaccurate thing in the world. So, like if you're trying to slide across a doorway, firing a hand cannon down a hallway, maybe that just is now completely ineffective, or maybe it doesn't feel any different than it did before. I don't know.
Yeah, I think obviously going to have to see how it actually feels, but I almost think that people are almost more upset about just the principle of trying to reduce like the effectiveness of movement to engage. Do you know? Like, I guess that's where my mind is like, why isn't that part of what you're doing? Like,
it's part of Destiny.
Managing sliding, or is it, do people think that sliding into engagement is a crutch and so it needs to be nerfed, or is that part of the movement skill with understanding the map and looking at radar and knowing where your enemies are and sliding into engagement so you do get an advantage? Like, that has been how everyone's been playing Destiny, right? Is if you can get really good at that, you get an advantage. So I think people are probably more upset with the idea of changing how you use movement to get an advantage, right?
Totally, yeah. It's
also a little bit mad because 2 years ago, Dad walked out to get cigarettes, and when he came back finally after 2 years, he's like, "We're nerfing slide."
We got maps. I've been making you a map. It's going to be ready next year.
Here's your cigarettes.
And I'm nerfing your slide.
I think Briar said that sliding is a crutch and you're bad if you slide.
Absolutely. Quote me.
Cool.
You can tweet me at it, too.
Put it in the TWAB.
Taft.
Oh, man.
Okay, so what else is going on?
So next we're going into specific classes. So we're going to do the Titan first, and we're talking about Rally Barricade specifically. So Rally Barricade, people don't use it anymore. People used to use it in PvE when it would reload your stuff.
Yeah,
but it doesn't do that anymore. So it's kind of useless. So now when you're standing behind the Rally Barricade, you get the following weapon buffs: plus 30 stability, plus 10% range, and minus 50% flinch.
That's good.
Does this mean that this is the Titan sniping meta?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Rally
Titans are the
sniper.
ultimate snipers. Just sit there with a Rally Barricade and snipe.
Huh.
Man, that's not nearly as good as having your weapons refill, though.
Right?
Being able to snipe is pretty fun.
Being able to snipe is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Having all your weapons refill every time you crouch was pretty dope, too.
The teabag behind the barricade.
Yeah.
It's true. You could just stay there teabagging.
Yeah, what was the lore behind being able to teabag to get a reload?
Something. Oryx was a jerk. Something. Teabag.
News spread through the realm of the hive about all these guardians teabagging whilst they did DPS.
You know what? Actually, you could also use it in PvE to get the extra range. You can use a slug shotty with a little bit of extra range. If you do that with a weld as a stack for extra range. Mylan, what's the lore on that?
You can't just take a PvP question and say, what's the lore of it, and think that's going to change the answer.
You've heard it here, guys. You could go into Mylan's stream, say anything. Say,
Yeah,
what's the lore on that? And you will get an answer.
What's the lore on that?
So that is the Rally Barricade. Interesting. I say it's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Next, they're talking about all barricades in general. So players moving at high velocity will now take more damage when moving through hostile Titan barricades, because what it is right now is if you go fast enough through the barricade, you take a little teeny bit of damage instead of the full damage from the barricade. So it allows people to kind of just slide through there. Slide
shoddy through it.
It's all of you sliders' fault that this is happening, by the way.
You know, for me, it's going to be my slide voop. It's getting penalized with the stability. It's fine.
Kickstart.
Yeah, kickstart.
Kickstart. Maybe
Easy.
Kickstart's a perk you want now. Easy peasy. Now barricades slightly protrude into the ground to better protect the Titan's footsies on uneven ground.
Yeah.
I
was worried about the Titans footsies getting
You
shot.
have your steel-toed Crocs on.
You just get a little splash damage from the boss, then boom, dead. Be like, that's wiped.
Yeah. This should reduce
That'd be nice if
where
it would
explosions and
block
projectiles sneak
splash
through.
damage.
I think
That's why they're doing it, because before splash damage would get through the crack.
Okay.
Yeah. So your tootsies will now be safe.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. And your friends' Tootsies, actually.
Everyone's safe
Nice.
while you're doing DPS.
So next we have Behemoth. There are write-ups with more details on all of this. If you guys do want to read it yourself, it gives you like why they're doing it, their thought process behind it, which is very interesting, but it's a juicy twab, so I'm just reading the changes.
Yeah.
But essentially this was, we nerfed them too much and in PvE feel bad. So Titan Behemoth. Cryoclasm. While equipped, base slide now shatters crystals and frozen targets. Increased duration of screen effects, notifying players that Cryoclasm long slide is ready from 1 second to 4.5 seconds. What's the lore on that?
I'm trying to get my head around what they're saying.
Mylan, you have a PhD. You're smarter than all of us. You can decode the lore on this.
People that.
On to Shiver Strike, which we know that's a melee. We know that. Increased movement speed by 25%, getting a little faster. And Whisper of Rhyme, which is what all the cool Titans have been using in Trials to get mega overshields and be very cool. They fixed a bug where the overshield provided by Whisper of Rhyme was not scaling precision damage correctly.
Bug fixed.
There you go, Titans. We know all about that.
Yeah.
Behemoth's coming back.
Behemoth's back. Middletree Sunbreaker. Still on Titans, by the way.
Yep.
That's a Titan, by the way, everybody.
Ooh, there's
Middletree
a lot. There's a
Sunbreaker.
lot here.
There is a lot, yes. It's a hell of a lot. So throwing hammer. Increased time before hammer explodes after hitting the ground from 6.5 seconds to 10 seconds. So they're giving you longer to throw the hammer and go pick it up.
That's good.
More leeway with
Very nice.
it.
And
Nothing
they
worse than having your hammer explode prematurely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bad.
drains your tree of Midgard life.
Right in front of a Jotun.
Shot's bad. Bad.
Yeah, bad. And it's also got increased damage versus powerful PvE combatants by 50%. Now
That's
remember,
awesome.
you can choose to throw your hammer whenever
Yeah.
now. So you can just run around throwing hammers whenever
Just
you want,
chuck it.
right in front of someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
It's
bonk.
like
Great.
I'm standing here talking to you and I'm like, boom, hammer. And now I got 10
Exactly.
seconds to pick it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to be right next to him. So you just practically pick it up right there and you're good to go.
Top and bottom Tree Striker. So Fist of Havoc is getting an increased slam detonation radius by 14%, reduced slam damage fall off, and reduced slam attack activation cost from 21% to 18%. So your slam is going to be bigger and cooler and cost less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Middletree Striker Titan. Inertia Override. Increased duration. This is actually kind of big. Increased duration from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Sliding over an ammo break now grants 20% melee energy. So with
Yeah.
Inertia Override, when you slide over ammo, you get like weapon damage increase and a bunch of other shiz. Well, now you're getting 20% melee energy and it's lasting 2 seconds longer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that seems
that's
good.
actually it's a pretty big buff.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see a good amount of Middletree Strikers. Moving on to Top Tree Sentinel. Are you guys ready for this?
I'm ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Let me read. It's a very small blurb, so I'm just going to read this bit. The following changes refer to the Ward of Dawn bubble itself and not the players inside the bubble.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to read that part. So Ward of Dawn, increased damage taken from bosses from 0.25 times to 7 times at 0 resilience. So your bubble and how much damage it can take
Scales
is
on
going to be
resilience?
based on your resilience stat.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So you need to spec
Right.
resilience
Hmm.
to keep
Now
it
there
alive
is
longer.
lore on that.
Is there really?
Yeah. Well, when we actually talk about Shayur, they when a Titan's holding a bubble, they sort of talk about how it feels like pressure on the Titan themselves. You know, they have to use their physical body to hold the bubble. So it would make sense
they
that
need
it's
more
tied to
resilience.
resilience. There you go.
There's
Interesting.
lore on that.
There's lore.
Actual lore on that. Nice. Love it.
See, you guys didn't expect to get lore on a sandbox update, huh?
Nope.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Can't get that
Awesome.
anywhere else, probably. Damage taken can scale down to 0.25 times based on the owner's resilience. So if you have max resilience, you're not going to notice any difference. So
Anybody
Bubble
running?
Titans get resilience.
Anybody running with max resilience Titans out there?
Probably.
Yeah.
Got to be able to put those little baby shields up more often to protect the
go.
footsies and get the range in the flinch.
You're protecting your feet, and you got the 0.25 damage reduction.
There you go.
That's great.
Easy. Moving on to Hunter. Yay. Everyone was excited. So first they're talking about Revenant. They said that they felt that they hit Weathering Blade a bit too hard, and some other stuff. So Silence and Squall, they are increasing the Squall movement speed by 20%. So it's going to be a little faster. Thank God. That tornado's dumb. It doesn't know what it's doing. It has no goals in life.
Easily distracted.
Really. Easily distracted, blocked by a pebble on the floor. Very unfortunate. And Squall Storm now stops when it touches a boss. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's good. So it'll sit there and just sit on a boss.
Yeah, you can actually use it for kind of some boss deeps now, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then Withering Blade, they're just increasing the projectile speed and tracking by 10%. They're not increasing the slow again or the damage or anything like that. It's just going to be a bit easier to use those shurikens that do nothing.
Yeah.
So, very nice. Middletree Gunslinger. Knife Trick. It's increasing the burning duration from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. And the reason they're doing that is because the whole, obviously, Middletree Gunslinger is all around the playing with fire perk. So it's going to give you a longer window to defeat burning enemies.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right.
Absolutely massive. Top Tree Gunslinger. So the 6-shooter damage fall off now starts at 25 meters instead of 20 meters. So that way you won't need to be as close to kill a super. Basically, it's essentially what that's going to do. Now, Arcstrider got the best ones for sure out of everything. Arcstrider is actually pretty interesting. So Arc Staff, this is for all of them, extended passive super duration from 16 seconds to 24 whole seconds.
That's a big increase.
Nice. It is a big increase. Increased heavy slam detonation radius from 5 meters to 6 meters. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 33%.
That's big.
I always love seeing that.
Yeah, right?
More PvE damage. Okay.
You might actually use Arcstrider a lot more in PvE because, like, Middletree Arcstrider, if you're blocking with the spinny stick, you do more damage with your attack, and then you're just doing more damage anyway. So that might actually be a pretty decent PvE class.
Yep.
Top Tree Arcstrider, Deadly Reach, increased duration from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. So you're going to have longer to do your big reaching melee, which is awesome. And then the change that I've been wanting for, since the beginning of Destiny 2 in this class was a thing. Lightning Weave. Dealing damage with Tempest Strike now triggers Lightning Weave, and the timer can be extended by dealing damage with any weapon. This is actually huge. So Lightning Weave is the ability where if you hit them with a melee, you reload your weapons faster and all of that stuff. It's going to proc now with your long melee attack. And you can just shoot people with a weapon and keep your weapon reloading.
Yeah, that's really
fast.
awesome.
That's really cool. So I'm excited about that because I do love Middletree Arcstrider, and this just made so much sense. I was like, why does Lightning Weave? I think I played it before it came out, and I was like, my one thing is, why does Lightning Weave not proc with Tempest Strike?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably change. Oh, it finally happened.
It's cool.
How many years?
Many years. many years. Many. But this was the old Sandbox team. None of those guys are even there anymore. They're working with probably monsters on video games.
Cool.
Yeah. Middletree Nightstalker. So this is just all about spectral blades. They don't believe that you should be a tanky assassin. They think you should be an assassin. So they are reducing your damage reduction during super from 52% to 47%, and reducing your additional damage reduction when invisible from +5% to +3%.
Wonder what that
It makes sense.
Wonder what that actually changes in the Crucible for 52 to 47. Like, is that one less?
It might be. Yeah, I don't know what it actually means in terms of the. Yeah, can you body it with a certain buff and it's fine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spectral Blaze is too tanky. Like that super is. It's supposed to be like you're invis and you're sneaking around and you jump on people and it's like you're dead and you sneak off. So having it be one of the tankiest supers is a little weird.
A little silly, yeah.
A little strange. Moving on to Warlocks. All of our mains. This is a Warlock podcast.
This is our season. The best
season ever. This is our season.
Ever.
This is what we're going to be playing with.
Best season.
Get excited. Nice. Shadebinder. Winter's Wrath. Reduced shatter pulse damage versus close range supers. So Warlocks must now freeze and shatter twice to defeat players in Burning Maul, Fist of Havoc, Sentinel Shield, Nova Warp, Arc Staff, or Spectral Blades.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Boo. Nerfing my class. I don't like it. Bad.
Bad.
I don't know how it's gonna be. I mean, I can imagine. Yeah, it's probably annoying that a warlock freezes you from 20 miles away and then shatters you in your super, and you're just dead.
Yeah, that's called skill.
I think
what are you talking about?
I think their general thing with like the Burning Maul and Nova Warp and all that stuff is that movement supers, where the roaming supers, are very easy to shut down. So they're trying to make it less easy to shut.
Right.
Moving on to Top Tree Dawnblade. The toppers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they say a lot about it. It's
quite a bit.
Dominant in PvP, which it is. Blah, blah, blah. What are they doing? Celestial Fire, which is the melee. Reduced tracking cone angle. Arming shape, proximity detonation, now shrinks over time. Reduced detonation size by 1 meter. And damage fall off increased at shorter distances.
I can't believe they've changed me cones.
Cone? Myelin is the cone
cones.
It's the ultimate cone.
Me tracking cones.
Celestial Fire is going to be a bit worse.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that. Strong. You have to aim it. That's weird.
Yeah, not just point in general direction and hit melee button.
You know what all them warlocks do? They slide around the corner and then they throw out a melee randomly into nowhere. And then a lot of the time it'll kill you.
I was really looking forward to that. And now I won't.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Icarus Dash. It now provides 1 air dodge every 4 seconds. However, while you're under the effect of heat rises, it increases to 2 dodges every 5 seconds. So heat rises is you have to eat your nade, and that's when you get the heat rises. So I can just see warlocks running double melee and double grenade, and just eating their grenades more to get the double dodges.
Heartburn.
That's pretty big, right? It
is pretty
dodge. Big. Yeah. So you're always just going to have one unless you eat your grenade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then heat rises. They're doing a couple things to this. So they increase the duration from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Increase the time extension awarded for air kills while heat rises is active. The extension duration differs based on the type of enemy killed. And your location now appears on enemy radar when using heat rises. So you can't just be in the sky and we're like, whoa, where's the guy? I don't know. Because I'm sure they were like, there's just going to be a bunch of warlocks in the sky and it's going to be really annoying. So they kind of, it's interesting because I kind of like these changes. I wouldn't say it's not a straight nerf. They didn't just go, let's just make it just worse. They've put all of it into heat rises.
Mm-hmm.
So now in terms of being a good Top Tree Dawnblade, it's going to be all about keeping up heat rises as much as possible.
Yeah. I'm interested in trying this out. As a warlock. As a warlock main. Trying that out.
Well, you have 364 months to try it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Ooh. That's a lot of damage. I mean, it looks like you can get back to pre-nerf with a bit of tinkering with your build, essentially, and intentional play, and you can get back to what it was before.
And aiming
this nerf.
your melee.
So,
yeah. I actually really like this change. I think this is pretty good. I think that they're going all in on the part of the class that's actually unique, which is, being all about being in the air and getting air kills and being able to dodge in the air and really going all in on that. And I think that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out, but I think the change is actually pretty cool. Middletree Dawnblade, Well of Radiance, as Tefty calls it. Nothing to do with a certain
Urinal of
body.
Radiance? It's the Urinal of Radiance, specifically.
That's your class, Tefty.
This is, it's what it is. It is what it is. Like to bathe in some golden showers. Not like that.
Can I clip that, please?
Can someone clip that? Yeah.
I will not be Urinal of Radiance main come next season. Thank you very much.
I might, because they say they wanted to make Well of Radiance more effective in the Crucible, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So Well of Radiance, they've done a similar thing to what they have done with Titans, but it's slightly a little pooier because Warlocks don't really need resilience, but we'll talk about it. Increased damage taken from bosses from 0.25 times to 1.5 times at 0 resilience. The good news is it's not going from 0.25 to 7, so that's great. But you are going to have a little bit of resilience in PvE if you want to have your well actually protect you.
If you want frothy braids of urinal piss.
Yes, you're going to need more resilience.
Spaghetti resilience.
According to Tefty. And this refers to the Well of Radiance itself, not the players inside the well. So just how long the well can actually live, because you can destroy the sword. A lot of people don't know that, but you shoot the sword. They also increased the damage resistance buff versus enemy players from 20% to 40%. Players inside Well of Radiance are now immune to Stasis Freeze and Slow. The piss keeps you warm. That makes sense. There's lore on that.
Well, temporarily.
Yeah. Until you break the sword.
Yeah, the well sword can be frozen and shattered. So you can still freeze the sword.
You can freeze it and break it off?
Yeah.
Damn.
Ads.
Hate to see it happen.
And Guiding Flame increased duration from 7 seconds to 10 seconds and increased damage buff from 20% to 25%. Cool. Bottom Tree Dawnblade. Phoenix Dive reduced delay before the dive starts and can now input a direction to dive in that direction. So in the little write-up, they do say that it's going to be similar to Shatter Dive. It's going to look like that. Because at the moment, if you're using Bottom Tree Dawn, you just slam right down on the ground. But you're going to be able to actually dive out of, into cover now. Because that's what some people use Shadow Dive for, right? It's like, I'm out there in the open, I'm going to dive behind cover. Warlocks with Bottom Tree Dawnblade's going to be able to do that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm curious how that's going to feel. The targeting
it's very
on that,
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm actually, before I read the stuff about Igniting Touch, I'm going to read what it says here. So it says that Bottom Tree Dawnblade also has one of the weaker melee attacks in the game. You had to defeat an enemy with a melee impact to cause an explosion. With this rework, anytime you defeat an enemy who is burning or defeat an enemy with any of your solar abilities, they'll explode and put a burn on nearby enemies. Your charged melee now deals 120 damage and puts a burn on the enemy, meaning you can follow up with another lethal attack and get the explosion. As a side note, this will be even more effective with the Dawn Chorus exotic helmet. So, Igniting Touch, the rework is solar ability kills and kills on burning targets now cause targets to explode and burn other nearby enemies who also explode if they die while burning. This is going to be very fun in PvE.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be explosions everywhere.
Yeah.
I like that. That's fun.
I really like this. Honestly, Bottom Tree Dawnblade is looking like a class that I might play a lot
Yeah.
next season. It just seems
I'm
kind of
interested in it.
fun. I like explosions.
Yeah.
I like burning.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really played. What's the necrotic grips? Doesn't that spread dot damage between
It
enemies or something?
does. So what if you
Will that
use
work with
that?
that?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah, probably. So if you melee someone in Crucible and you're burning them and they're necrotic gripped, is that a thing you could do? I'm pretty sure that just one shots them.
I haven't used it enough. I've only just recently become a warlock too. Don't know.
Are you?
Recent,
Yeah.
huh?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't do it by choice, Milo. It's disgusting.
Marlon has exited the call.
Moving on to Middletree Stormcaller, the Chaos Reach. Chaos Reach. Increased beam environment collision size to better match collision size with damage size. Basically, they're, again, trying to stop you getting killed behind a wall or corners and stuff. We have heard that before. Let's see if it works this time.
The beam was too small?
They're all...
They had
the beam
small
was
beam
killing
problems?
you behind corners. The beam hit everybody. There was no hiding from the beam.
Oh, okay.
Now they're trying to make it able to
Beam
hide.
environment collision size. Okay. Interesting.
So, environment collision size to better match collision size with damage size. Hefty, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
Okay.
sounds like the beam is getting bigger. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, no, they reduced the beam damage radius in PvP by 20%.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's that. And reduced beam endpoint sphere radius in PvP by 33%. Sphere radius.
Got it. See, that makes sense for shrinking the beam.
Oh yeah.
The other one,
100%.
sounded like they were having small beam syndrome going on there. Need to girth up the beam a bit.
Girthy beams.
Yeah.
No more. But sometimes when the damage side collision size with the environment collision size damage.
Right. Of course. Makes perfect
Bottom
sense.
Tree Stormcaller. So they are so they specifically say here that landfall felt a little underwhelming, so we increased the spectacle a bit. So this is what it's going to do when you're going to do landfall, which is actually pretty interesting. It will now fire 5 arc projectiles along the ground in all directions. Cast your super in the middle of a room to electrocute everything around you.
Sounds fun.
That does sound pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Arc Soul, increased duration from 12 seconds to 13 seconds and increased the fire rate by 10%. Pretty much what the exotic does, I guess. I don't know. Electrostatic Surge now increases sprint speed when allies are near. And then the landfall fires 5 arc ground projectiles.
Nice.
Oh, sounds pretty fun.
Cool.
That sounds pretty fun.
It's good changes.
Warlocks are getting some pretty exciting
Yeah,
changes,
they're getting some good stuff.
Yeah.
Middletree Voidwalker. Nova Warp. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 73%.
That is massive.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a
They were
lot.
like, this
That
is
is
not good in PvE. We need to change this.
No longer slows movement speed while charging charged, and now detonates on cast.
No longer
So
slows
Nova
movement
Warp
speed.
is... Yeah, when you were holding it...
Yeah, you'd slow down.
That's
Slow
big
down a
pain.
little bit.
Yeah, you slow down when you're actually charging it up. Whereas now you can kind of just leave it charged and I guess run around like a crazy person the whole time.
Yeah. Oh,
Great.
okay. Cool.
Next we have Handheld Supernova. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 100%.
Okay.
And increased hold time from 2.5 seconds to 3.2 seconds.
Okay.
A little bit of a bump.
Yeah. I feel like
Love that.
Nova Warp's going to be pretty spooky.
It just seems like the damage in general is going to be much better than it. It was hurting. It had a moment where it shined, and then Bungie just cut it off at the knees. Everyone was like, well, oh well.
It was fun while it lasted. Or it wasn't fun, actually.
Yeah. Depending on how you looked at it, yeah.
And that's the end of that. It just say we've omitted some minor changes and bug fixes from this list to avoid bogging down the TWAB any more than we already have. For the full list of ability changes, be sure to check out the patch notes when Season 15 launches. While this season's changes are focused on balancing the power output of specific abilities, we're hard at work on system-level changes that will enable us to create a healthier balance between abilities and gunplay.
Nice.
So that's really, this is part of all of their changes of wanting to make gunplay be the focus instead of abilities, because we've definitely gone down the abilities route.
Yeah.
Improving the powering up stasis experience. I'm just going to read this in full. It's not that long. With Beyond Light, Guardians received their first taste of wielding the powers of darkness. First taste, huh?
First taste.
Interesting.
More
saying
to come.
A second taste and third taste?
This is just a taste.
What if there's a fourth taste?
Fourth taste. Like a rainbow?
Rainbow?
Taste the rainbow? As well as a new way to power up subclasses with aspects and fragments. These subclass mods introduce a new way of evolving and growing a subclass, which drastically impacts how the Stasis subclass felt. Guardians who used aspects and fragments experience the true power of Stasis, whereas those who have not may feel a bit cold towards it. The dad jokes are all up in here. Even worse, many Guardians may not even know of the extended power offered by aspects and fragments, and we want to improve that. Starting in Season 15, our Darkness Guide on Europa the Exo Stranger will now reveal more information on how to complete the tasks required for earning more Stasis power. Guardians who have finished the Beyond Light campaign and visit the Exo Stranger on Europa will see the entire path for unlocking aspects and fragments. Additionally, many of the pre-requirements for obtaining and completing the Born in Darkness quest chain will be reduced or removed. Previously, Guardians needed to complete several quest chains and unlock Salvation's Grip before Stasis would grant them additional power. Guardians that completed the Beyond Light campaign will have immediate access to the Born in Darkness quest chain from the Exo Stranger on Europa. The Exo Stranger also reveals every unowned fragment, regardless of progression through the Born in Darkness questline, giving a preview of the many powers to unlock. With these improvements to messaging aimed at removing a lot of the mystery around powering up Stasis, we're excited to see more Guardians unlock the powers.
This is great.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Streamlining it.
Thank
yeah.
God.
Because I just went through the whole process of unlocking Stasis on my Warlock, and
I'm going to do that next season when it's... Good timing. Good timing.
I mean, I literally did it for GMs because how well Stasis Warlocks are going in GMs, and man, it's a bit of a grind to unlock everything and unlock all the fragments and all the aspects to make a build, really, and that's where the fun starts. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The Gauntlet is a thing that's happening. I'm going to read this because I haven't read this part of the TWAB. This year marks our 7th anniversary of the Gauntlet Tabletop fundraiser. On Sunday, August 15th, Team Bungie will compete in a tournament against 20 other local gaming studios and tabletop aficionados to raise funds for Young Women Empowered. It's a Seattle area nonprofit whose mission is to cultivate the power of diverse young women to be creative leaders and courageous change makers through transformative programs within a collaborative community of belonging. Your donations will help them fund Why We Dream, a program that helps to remove barriers for youth, such as fixing the car they need to get to school, buying books for their education, or helping them get a license to start their own business. Your donations will also embolden our team with power-ups that will help us win the tournament. Thanks to you, Team Bungie is the reigning champion because you guys are giving us an emblem. There is an emblem for donating $25 in a single donation. And you can get this this emblem. It's like green and green.
It's kind of racing-ish.
I can't describe it. It's kind of racing-ish.
Racing inspired, right?
And it's the Entre Noir emblem, which will be distributed on Thursday, August 26th. So, rules of the road. To be eligible for the emblem, donations must be made to this campaign between August 2nd and August 15th. So, if you do want to get the emblem, make sure to donate. And it's a really good cause, and it will help Bungie win.
Cool.
Which they will, because there's an emblem.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like cheating.
The Destiny community wants all the emblems. I think that is about it. TWAB TWAB.
Yeah,
That was
It
big,
was long. It's a long
throbbing
TWAB.
TWAB.
And Watts, you
Big
did such an amazing job
I
destroying
really,
Thank
10 out of
you.
10,
the TWAB,
honestly.
right?
I'm trying to order food and do it at the same time.
Multitasking
Well,
like an Asgardian
killing
champion.
Yeah.
I am an Asgardian 16-dayer.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go so
16-dayer.
far as a champion.
You're a champion in my book.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, really good stuff. Lots and lots of just changes, buffs, a lot of buffs. You know, I think overall really good.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm overall like obviously there's a couple things we need to wait and see what it feels like. I really can't give a solid opinion on the sliding thing until I know what that feels like when I'm sliding and shooting someone.
Yeah. Those numbers are too, like,
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
okay. Like, am I even going to feel that? Like,
Yeah.
are only the top
Yeah.
1% of PvPers going to be able to feel a difference? Or is everybody going to say, oh my God, you can't slide and shoot at all anymore? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to err a lot more on the I don't even really feel that much of a change, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm interested to see what else they're going to be discussing and bring to the table while they
Same.
bring up to the big reveal. What is it? 24th again?
24th.
Yeah.
Yep. 19 days away.
19 days.
19. And next, we're gonna have juicy twabs the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like them.
Yeah.
Oh, I love them.
Thick.
Seems like season 15 might actually be some pretty big changes just in terms of subclasses and mods and weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen those twabs yet, but if they're shaping up to be the size of this, it might end up feeling pretty different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Good
Pretty
stuff.
fresh.
Definitely.
Really cool.
I like it.
Did you guys play any Iron Banner?
I played some on Xbox.
Yeah. How'd it feel?
No, I didn't.
It was fine.
Any difference from playing
From
on
PC?
PC versus PS5?
You die a lot less to freaking grenade launchers on console, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And
Really?
that's nice. Everything else feels pretty much the same, but you die a lot less to grenade launchers. There's a lot less of them, and you don't
I wonder why that is.
because it's just you have to get direct hits to really kill people,
Mhm.
and it's just a little less accurate on
Mhm.
controller with grenade
Okay.
launchers. It was like that with Mountaintop. Like Mountaintop was of course one of the easier ones to use.
Right.
And it was much more of a problem on PC than it was on console.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just pretty good.
I haven't done any Iron Banner this time around. I'm already maxed out, mate. Already got me pinnacles done. That's the only reason I usually jump into Iron Banner.
Yeah.
I've been trying to. I've actually really got into Grandmasters. This is probably the real first season I've actually had a decent crack at them.
Yeah. How are you enjoying them?
So, well, the first one I did try was the glass one, and I was like, nah, this is not for me, mate. and then
The fun level wasn't quite there for you?
Yeah, and then I went and got Stasis unlocked to my Warlock and had this dilemma in my head about whether is it a great thing that you have to go get all the tools to compete? And I thought, oh, at first, like, I should be able to play the way I want. But then Grandmasters isn't really about that. It's about finding the right tool for the right job. And I'm still like in my head flip-flopping between I want to be able to use this, but I can't because of the weapon mods and certain classes are just outperforming everything else. And well, that's maybe what endgame should be, is having all the tools in your toolbox to work out what goes with it. So I'm on the fence still with Grandmasters. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I slowly started to enjoy them. I really didn't like them when I started, and I've slowly started to enjoy them. So I don't know.
Nice. Does very much feel like a specific puzzle with a specific piece that you need to assemble to make it work for a lot of things. You can't just throw whatever at it, like running a regular strike.
I think my biggest issue with them is the artifact mods really dictate what you can and can't use, and when you have to run like a double primary or something like that, that's when it feels probably the worst, when you don't have a good, when those champions come up in a certain configuration and you know you have to run like a double primary, you don't get to have a grenade or a sniper on or something like that, and it's that all really comes down to the artifact mods and what you've got around to play with. So
yeah, for sure.
But do you know what I've also been getting into fights with?
What's that?
Shayur. Bit of lore for you. You guys want a bit of lore?
I've been
Let's
watching
hear
it.
it.
Lore. I've been excited about it. The Twitter sphere was angry at Mylan about. Mylan was picking fights.
I had the fists up. I was throwing punch. Well, actually, no. I was getting punched, I think. So, I recently had been sleeping on this story about a character called Shayur. And Shayura's Wrath is one of the Trials SMGs that came out this season. And in it, it describes this character who is essentially hunting guardians who wield stasis. And pretty nastily too. Like she straight up hunts. There's a guardian with a friendly Elixni, straight up murders the Elixni, and then goes on to kill the guardian. And she has like a human skull in her ship and all this kind of stuff. That obviously wasn't the controversy part, because when I went to make a video about this, I was like, man, this is brutal. And when I looked up her story, the Trials of Osiris set that was introduced in Season of the Chosen is actually all about her. Every piece of gear on every class is about her. So there's a massive amount of lore about her. And you basically, she has a fight. She is a Trials of Osiris. She was a Trials of Osiris player. Ironically, then she went mad.
So she did carries, paid carries.
There is lore on that.
Count
That is
recovs.
true.
Yeah.
There's definitely lore on
So she was a Trials of Osiris, player, or at least participated in, and she has a fire team, including a hunter and a titan. So if you read and she's a warlock, if you read the warlock gear, it's her perspective. If you read the hunter gear, it's the same events from her teammate's perspective.
Cool.
And if you read the titan gear, it's the same events from his perspective. And this actually really felt like Destiny 1 lore, where you had to put it together, because there's little clues in how to order them. Unfortunately, this is the only thing they missed. I don't know why it doesn't go in order of your armor piece. Like event 1 chronologically should be helmet, and then gloves,
for sure.
chest, boot, cape. For some reason, it's like helmet, chest, glove, cape, boot, but it doesn't matter. The reason why it's a big clue to understand the order, and to also understand whose perspective is I can't remember if it's the gloves or one of the gear sets. Two of the characters describe a Trials of Osiris match, and Shayur describes being on Titan and trying to kill a knight. And I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, this is a mistake. I'm like, they've goofed up. I actually thought they got the order wrong, and this is not meant to be in there. And then I realized that she's hallucinating. And so that's how you work out that she's having like an episode, and she is stabbing. The Trials of Osiris match finishes, and she continues to stab the opposing player in the face with a sword, and her teammates pull her off her. And they're like, what are you doing? And that's when you realize, when you read it from her perspective, she's fighting this hive knight, and the knight won't die. So she continues to stab it. And that's when it all sorts of comes together that she's likely suffering from, doesn't say post-traumatic stress syndrome, but the way they describe it, she has this traumatic event during the Red War where they all lost their light, and they all sort of questioned their mortality, and she almost died to this night. And then she's sort of having these flashbacks to that time. And the way that the story progresses, it becomes a bit of a trigger. So they try to get her to talk to Akura Ray, because Akura Ray went through very similar things during the Red War. And I mean, all the Vanguard did really, when we all lost our light, they really played heavy into that sort of theme of mortality for Guardians, and what it would mean if we were mortal one day or immortal one day and then mortal the next, you know, how confronting that would be. And this tends to. Oh, we lost watch.
Lost watch.
This then
Had
goes
enough
on
of
to.
our bullshit.
She's like, I'm out. She's got to go. She said.
Yeah, I think she's not feeling good.
Oh no. Oh no. All right. I'll keep it. I'll keep it rolling. So this eventually progresses to her becoming quite fanatical because she believes that in those moments of weakness, people would embrace the darkness and salvation. And so she starts to consider those who embrace stasis as people who have are not really, walking the light, and then it's a bit of a betrayal to do that. And so that sort of becomes her thing, is to take out stasis guardians.
Yeah.
The reason why I sort of made this controversial is I said, well, Shin Malphur killed plenty of people who embrace the darkness. This was before we had stasis, and Shayur is sort of doing the same. And a lot of people are calling for Shayura to be killed and to, for Shin to have a showdown with her and all this kind of stuff. And so I sort of just posed the question, why does she not get a redemption arc? And all the gloves came off, and people were ready to fight because people are very defensive of Shin Malphur and the Dredge and Yor saga. And so I've doubled down on that. Actually, I went back and read a lot of Shin's lore, and I actually think that Shayura is in many similar positions as Shin Malphur is. People don't want to look at that because a lot of people remember Shin's quest line with the last word,
right?
And specifically how he came to a point in his journey where he no longer saw things in absolutes, and he realized you can have a balance of light and dark, and guardians were the catalyst for that. And that's why all of his journal entries are the gray, we are the line between light and dark. And this sort of sets up beyond light as well, is he starts to realize, oh man, maybe you can wield both light and dark. I shouldn't be hunting dredgens essentially. Yeah, and so but that's I can give more information if you guys want to go on about it. But if you look at Shin's early history, he is actually a pretty similar character to Shayura, and it's interesting. People's reactions to Shayura now is very different because we all wield stasis. Whereas back in when Shin's story was, he just anyone who pursued darkness, he would finish off and permanently kill. And that was very acceptable back in that time because
Interesting.
it was about dredgens essentially.
Right. Yeah.
People following in Dredge and Yor's footsteps. So might get a bit spicy in my next video. See.
Yeah.
So, I've ever been on the wrong side of the lore community before, but this might be the first time.
Wielding the darkness, Mylan.
Wielding the darkness. So Shayura, she's and actually the thing that started it all was I was reading her story and I'm like, man, this feels like a D1 Shin Malphur Dredge and Yor saga, and that was one of the early reasons to why I said, oh, she's like Shin, because I actually didn't mean she was literally going to be Shin Malphur, and people got a bit upset by that. But what I meant was initially we had 15 lore entries in Season of Chosen, and now they're similar to those Dredge and Yor sort of Shin Malphur sagas. They sort of add a little piece of the puzzle as we go. So I'm interested to see if they keep moving her story forward.
Yeah,
and
do you think
a really tough topic?
Do you think an exotic quest line could exist around that?
Yeah, I mean, she has enough lore there. The reason why her character is hard, though, and this is what I say in my next video, is she's a bit like the Joker, and this is where a lot of people get stuck on, is the mental health aspects of her. And if you read all her lore, you can understand how she got to the point where she is, where she's become very fanatical. Right. And so that now people are like, well, you can't reason with the Joker, right? That's who he is. He's now going to cause chaos throughout everywhere. And Shayura is a little bit in that space where people believe she's too far gone, she can't learn from her mistakes, and that she needs to be an enemy. And so I'm really interested to see if they explore that or not, and if she can come back from this, this episode that sent her down this path of hunting Stasis Guardians. If they do, regardless, if they add any more lore to her, it is going to be a really interesting and potentially confronting story for a lot of people.
That's fascinating. Yeah. That's really cool.
There you go.
What if they actually took it down that dark path even further and made it like the first kind of like antagonizing guardian enemy type in the world?
Well, I mean, it's
the Stasis Hunters,
and that's why people keep saying she's more like Dredge and Yor than she is Shin Malphur, and that's sort of why I find her story really interesting, is because she's claiming Dredge and Yor sort of claim to do stuff in the name of the darkness, right? And embracing darkness and kill guardians of the light, whereas she's like the opposite. She's like an inverse Dredge and Yor. She's claiming to do stuff in the light and killing guardians who wield darkness.
Right.
But we put her in the same villain category as Dredge and Yor.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Double-edged story, or double standard going on.
Yeah. And then I sort of add, and this is sort of this is the fuel I added to the fire is, I mean, Bungie has gone to these really, I would probably say confronting storylines. If you look at like, who was it? Lakshmi 2. Season the Splicer, it was confronting for a lot of people and hit home for a lot of people. So it wouldn't surprise me if they tackled a story like this as well. Essentially, she is a soldier returning from war, suffering from PTSD, and now has gone sort of religious fanatical in her belief and doubled down on taking anyone out. So like it's kind of
a psychotic break, right?
Yeah, because the other part I didn't mention is she's sort of joined a group of, there's a sort of praise the Praxic Fire, and there's an order called the Praxic Order, and I actually think that she's just pretending to be part of that order, or that she is sort of taking their preachings and sort of making them more fanatical than what they are. But she could be part of that order too. Yeah.
I'll be curious where it goes. I hope they don't just like drop it off and you don't hear about anything for a while. I'd love it when they take those lines and actually make something of it and complete it. Like maybe it's some sort of, like I said, an exotic quest that happens throughout a season that sheds more light onto it,
Well, I think with these kind of characters, like I think, and Shin Malphur is a good example. They start off as these, like mini stories, and it's when they become fan favorites that they actually get a bit more screen time. So the more people that are talking about Shayur and want to see her story come to some sort of conclusion or to be expanded upon, that's when you get more lore on them. And the fact that they introduced something in this season about her in one of the Trials weapons, I think is a good sign that we might get a few more videos about her, or a few more lore pieces about her.
Maybe it'll be more connections with changes happening in Trials. Maybe some sort of bit of storyline, new gear, more lore with that.
Yeah. I mean, they've been really good with actually adding lore for changes happening in world. I mean, whether you like it or not, they had a whole lore book around basically transmog. There was a whole like lore book summary around how transmog came to the system.
Really?
Yeah. Achilles.
Minted in silver and dust.
Yeah. But I thought it was pretty funny that it was like, why have I not heard of this? I was like, I know why. It's all lore and Trials pieces.
Yeah.
That's why I've never bloody seen it.
It's cool.
Oh, I hope Watts is all right. That's why Watts invited me on, because it blew up on Twitter, and she's asked if I would come on and talk about Shayur. So
nice.
Unfortunately, she couldn't hear the story.
Yeah,
she feels a bit better.
Yeah, she's not feeling good right now, so she had to dip out. Yeah, that's fascinating. Really, I always find those stories extremely intriguing in the Destiny universe. How they're kind of interwoven and like so underplayed initially for the typical player experience, because you like even if you just play Trials a lot, there's some people who never crack that lore page and would have no idea that this character exists in the game.
Yeah. And like you probably wouldn't put it together either. Like I had to put it all into a Word document to like work to see the pattern of how they were telling her story. Oh, okay. There's like it's every entry started with like simulation log and then a bunch of numbers, and it turned out if you take the last number from each entry, it actually told you the order that they should be put in.
Almost like,
whereas you can't really do that in game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Bungie likes to drop little nuggets for like the archaeology, like the archaeologist pulling back pieces and like, seeing where things are in the game.
Yeah. And I think I love the lore books, and I feel like the lore books are very, very accessible to more people now. Like you unlock a lore book, you read it in order. And Destiny 1 never had that, and you had to work out where everything went yourself. And I like how like item and weapon lore, I think, should sort of carry on the vision of Destiny 1, which is like these sort of puzzle pieces that you've got to move around together to work out what the story is. I think that's like a nice compromise where you've got lore books, which are in chronological order, easy to access, easy to unlock. They're like parallel to the storyline. And then you've got these side plots that are on your Trials of Osiris gear and weapons and lore tabs, etc.
It's cool. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that story with it.
Yeah, that's cool.
No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, next week we hope to get a bunch of. I mean, it should be the epilogue. Is that correct?
Is it next week? Yeah, I guess it is because it's 2 weeks out from the reveal.
The 10th or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be juicy. Hopefully.
Drop. Yeah.
Yeah.
The epilogue. Yeah.
Epilogue.
Shall we? Oh yeah, go for it.
No, I was just saying. Because we got that lore page by accident, I believe. It dropped early or something like that.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
The lore book. Yeah, so I'm expecting some pretty cool stuff to happen. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think it should be interesting.
I don't know about the drop or any kind of data mining stuff. Do you think they're going to finally tie up the Lakshmi stuff, or do you think that's going to be future seasonal type of thing?
No, I think Lakshmi's probably done. I think her little piece at the end of the last week was probably it, but I think I'm expecting some sort of like not an event. Like I've read all the lore books, and there's something that happens in the very last entry that we haven't seen happen in game, and I'm sort of expecting that to happen. So
okay, are you satisfied how they tied up things with Lakshmi?
I think this needs to hit a home run. I think in general I'm very impressed with the season, but I will feel like it's fizzled out if we don't get like this epilogue. If we don't,
agreed. Yeah, I'm
hit it home because it's had so much great build up.
It has, I feel like this build up was happening, and then suddenly Solstice came, and I was like, okay, yeah, Solstice now, great. We killed Korea or whatever, and it's like kind of wanted more of a conclusion beyond that, but
yeah,
I think this will do it. From what I've read, I think this will do it, and I hope it does, because I think this season's actually been really good. If it doesn't, then I still think it's a great season that just didn't it's like an 80%. It's like this could have been the best exam. You've done really well writing this, but if you're marking it, you're so close. You just missed the punchline, just missed the final conclusion of it.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Shall we?
Some Twitter
questions? I think it's time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Twitter questions.
Brian Zayevith says this one's for Briar. I know he won't like it, but if he could stop all barbecue eating Briar jokes at the cost of forever giving up Crocs and his mister, would he?
Wow.
Crocs and my mister? First of all, if you knew I wasn't going to like the question, why did you ask it, Brian? First of all. Second of all, why would you give me such a Sophie's choice? No, I would deal with the jokes to keep the mister of my Crocs.
Yeah.
Why give up such a good thing?
Recently they had the CEO of Crocs on NPR that I heard, and I was like, this is so strange.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and he went on, and they were talked about how like Crocs had a big rush, and then it faded out, and now they're on like a major rise again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, legit. Crocs, like
good for
worldwide, have been exploding. And I thought that was really weird that I was listening to that on NPR. Anyways.
Hero79 says, emergency question number, I don't know. I'm on holiday. What was the last thing that you laminated?
These nuts.
Laminated.
Yeah.
These
Laminated.
I don't know.
I think I didn't laminate. I don't think I've ever laminated anything.
You've never laminated anything?
No, well, not personally. I'd be like, hey, can you? I'll just find someone who knows how to use it. Hey, can you laminate this?
Yeah. Yeah, I did that with Road Atlas. So I'd have the sheets, like the Road Atlas laminated so it'd hold up better over time. And I could draw on it with a dry erase marker.
What do you mean
that?
the Road Atlas?
Yeah. Do you not use your
Like
phone?
a map?
Do you not use your phone anymore for that?
There was a day before GPS being ubiquitous.
Yeah, no, totally.
And you used to use maps, which were like paper Google Maps.
So this was a long time ago that you laminated.
You looked around. It wasn't that long. It was like 10 years ago.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah, you have map books, right, in your car, like a map book.
Yeah.
Or is this different? This is like an actual, like, big paper map. You unfold.
It was. No, it was a book of maps.
So you just laminated the cover, right?
No, I took the pages out and I laminated the individual pages and then I stuck them back in.
How many pages was it?
It's a lot.
20? No, it was like
just 20?
Oh,
yeah. I didn't laminate all the pages. I only laminated the ones that were useful to me on a daily basis because I was driving all over like the Northeast on a daily basis.
All right.
Okay.
That's the last thing I laminated. Before that was probably my social security card, which says do not laminate on it. Awesomeness says, which quest has been the best and worst at adapting to the stupid Twitter questions? Which guest has been the best and the worst at adapting to stupid Twitter questions?
The best.
I don't want to call anybody out for being the worst. That's kind of mean. There have been people who just kind of got a little bit like offended by it.
Yeah?
Yeah. But that hasn't happened in a long time. Like a long, long time. Most people kind of know about it when they come on the show, right?
Yeah, as it is right now. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one to answer because, like,
I mean, you can just say I'm the best if you like.
Okay, Mylan's the best.
Mylan's the best at these questions. It's amazing, actually.
Log Power Slave, though, actually the best.
Ah, damn it. He always gets me.
Michael Cameron says, predictive lore questions for Lore King. Do you think they'll ever replace the speaker?
Yeah, I was reading something about that yesterday as well. The whole Vanguard and all that is very up in the air. I mean, it's like, will they replace? I don't know. Probably not. Because Cade hasn't been replaced. There hasn't been a... Maybe there should be. With the awakening of the Traveler, there should be opportunity for a new speaker to come.
Maybe it's on the same clock as PvP. You know? It's got to have like a 2.5, 3 year cycle before they officially make a change in the Vanguard, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you're going to bring back the speaker, they would do it if there was a vendor need. Like, they'd be like, hey, we need another currency. bring back in and write the
speaker bucks. We need speaker bucks.
Yeah, the speaker actually did stuff in D1, right? Like, well, he had a few quest lines.
Shells.
Yeah, the ghost shells. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like wasn't the Thorn quest tied to him at some point?
Yeah, there should be able to be a next speaker. Do I think they'll bring the speaker back? I don't think so. I mean, when was the last time we got a new vendor, essentially? It would be Ada doing stuff with... Oh, I guess Mithra. Oh, he's not a vendor. See, even something like Mithrax doesn't hang around in the tower.
I think Saint was the last one in the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mohegan says, is It's Raining Men and Let the Body Hit the Floor the same song, just from a different perspective? It's raining men and let the bodies hit the floor.
Wow.
It's gross, actually, when you think about it that way.
Thanks for the image.
Raining bodies.
That really makes it.
Wow.
It really makes it a bit more violent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Think about that right before you're about to go to sleep. Michael Cameron says, which decision makes less sense? No legit buff to Blade Barrage or waiting 2 years to turn the faucet on? And Diddy 1682 says, "Where's the fish?" Diddy 1682 says, "Where is the fish?" Does anybody know what he's talking about?
Fish?
I'm not sure
the
what he's talking about.
extra stranger fish, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Remember how there was all that hype about the exo strangers? It's not a ghost, and then
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about the fish.
Yeah,
What was that
where's
thing?
The fish?
Yeah,
maybe
what's
she
the
ate
lore
it.
behind that, Mylan?
the drifter ate it.
I don't know. I've never read anything about it. I don't think there is any lore about it.
Did they just ghost us with that like fish ghost?
Ghost fish with not the ghost fish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
had a cool like rendered thing. Then nothing.
I can tell you right now, next season, if something even remotely refers to that thing, you'll be seeing a clickbait thumbnail with that fish and a big red arrow going, OMG, can't believe they've finally explained it. You won't believe what they said about the fish. You will know when there is lore about the fishy.
Hunter says, since names are going to be locked in for a few months once crossplay gets implemented, and you can change it to whatever you want on Steam, what names are you planning to use during that time period? What would it take to have it reflect to your forced warlockhood next season?
Oh, I mean, I would just change Marlin to Merlin. Perfect.
That's a good one. I'm going to change mine to Piss in Skirts.
Yes, and skirts.
Yeah,
I'm going to change mine to the Golden Shower.
All right.
The Golden Shower. Physics says rapid fire questions. Here we go. Funko Pops or action figures? Action figures.
Action figures.
Yeah.
Dine in or go out? Or to go. Sorry. Dine in or to go? Dine in.
Dine in if there's no chance I'm going to get sick.
Oh, I'm a big fan of takeaway, right? To go. I don't know.
I don't like it when it gets cold.
Sit on the.
Sorry, rapid fire.
Yes, delivery. Yeah, that's the hard part. If it gets.
I just like going out. I just like being somewhere else, but right here.
Yeah.
Colgate or Crest?
Huh? What are they? Colgate toothpaste.
Toothpaste. Yeah,
Right.
toothpaste.
Oh, okay, we don't have Crest here.
No?
So I have to.
I use that Tom stuff, natural.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My wife brought home a natural toothpaste. I swear to God, I am not making this up for effect. It tasted a little bit like vomit. Like every time you brush your teeth with it, you'd be like, that's a little bit like vomit. I don't care. Sneakers or flip-flops? Flip-flops.
Sneakers.
Thongs, you mean? Yeah, flip flops, mate. Why would you go for the effort to put all your sneakers on, Deft? So socks and shoes.
I'm in a sneakers season of my life right now. For a long time, I was in a flip flops season where flip flops are pretty much everything.
Is it for the back pain, the knee pain, and the hip pain?
No, I've just gotten into the habit of enjoying. I enjoy having socks on my feet, and I want to put it
pain-free walking.
It's for my aging body. What can I say? No, I had a season where it was all about the flip flops. if it was going to a wedding, I'd consider the flip flops. I'd be like, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. But now I'm in a sneaker season. So yeah.
Right. So have you bought like a expensive pair?
No, I'm not in that
season. Are sneakers different from runners? I'm thinking of like sports shoes. Are sneakers?
Yeah, like tennis shoes. Like rubber soled
like running shoes, right? But do sneakers include like fancy, like Nike?
Yeah,
like fancy,
all of it.
Fancy,
all of it.
All
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not collecting or anything like that. I don't have a closet full of hundreds and hundreds of shoes or anything like that. I'm just got a couple. Those are my daily drivers.
Right. Okay.
The Only Blade says, do you wish class-specific exotic class weapons made a comeback? I really miss my Talaylock.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I miss Talaylock. I thought that was fun and awesome. I don't really want the Fabian strategy to come back, but I kind of miss that in the game. Because I do like the idea of everything, all of your stuff lining up towards a build that is kind of unique to that class. I do like that. I don't want everything to be that way, but I do like the idea of stuff like that existing. Like even the guns are tied to specific things.
I thought they were going to do that in Destiny 2 when Destiny 2 first came out. They had those swords that were class specific, and the coolest one was the Hunter one, where he just kind of ran with it behind him, kind of Naruto style, anime style. But I think
the thing with like exotics is if you did class specific, you would take away from having an exotic that everyone could access. Do you know? Now you've got to make 3 exotics, 1 for each class, essentially, rather than
true. It's a lot more work.
Exotics that everyone could use. Yeah. And I think from what we've heard, the process for making exotics is actually quite long.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mad Geek says, so how excited is DCP that the Warlocks are getting buffed just in time for you to start maining them? Tefty will not have to stand in a pool of pee, but can now start hurling globs of purple goo. It's pretty convenient.
It is super convenient. I'm like, you know what? Things are looking up.
Mupbeard says, with them introducing stasis legendaries, I wonder if they'll have it so that stasis energy weapons cause a non-damaging slowing freezing effect when breaking any shield. I feel like that would save them having to add new enemy shields. Thoughts?
Wait, say again.
I wonder if they'll have it so that stasis energy weapons cause a non-damaging slowing freezing effect when breaking a shield.
Right.
So any shield?
Yeah, I guess so. Because what he's proposing is there would be no stasis shields.
It's if they break,
it has another way.
If they break any shield that's on the field, then it causes like a slowing effect. If they did that, I'd be a little disappointed, honestly. I want it to be something that plays with the sandbox in there, but that does sound like an easy solution.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if they said that they're gonna not have energy shields, that like stasis energy shields.
They haven't said anything about it yet.
They've said anything about it.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Bofa says, now that Season of Techno Fallen is coming to an end, what are you guys expecting from Epilogue? Personally, I'm hoping that Quaria to come back in some form or some more conflict with the faction leaders. Love me some leadership drama.
For me, I want that faction conflict to be a little more resolved, play out on some sort of thing that happens and some results for it to happen. And then I also want Savathun to maybe say, hey, I planned all this or something.
Yeah. I want that link to be, to be very clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they will be.
Yeah.
Josh Porter says, following on from the discussion last week about difficulty of patrol areas, where do you guys think about the introduction of world tiers to patrol? On a patrol landing area, you could up the difficulty to master, thus dropping higher level, higher stat loot. Thoughts?
Yeah, I could totally see them doing a world tier system. I wouldn't want it to be too complicated. I've seen some games do it, and then it gets like, why is there 5 world tiers? It's like you have your basic, everyone's in there, world tier, and then you have like one step up for leveling, and then a grandmasters type of thing going on in there. I think that could definitely be the solution to make it so people could actually go in there and get some interesting things. The main problem is just making sure that it's tied to things that people would want to get and not just get for a season and then it's dead. Like that's the issue with a lot of the loot pull in the game, keeping it fresh for a while.
Yeah, I feel like Destiny moves away from an exploration kind of game, and it's just lots of bubbles of activities, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not like I played New World recently. It's not massively it's not an MMO open world where you want to be exploring and discovering, and the tiers of the enemies changes as you go through. I feel like we've quite settled into a bubble activity, and even if you're like in a new area or you're in on any planet, you're either going to a lost sector or you're going to like a mission.
That's what it feels like. Once you get to end game, the patrol is just I'm passing by, don't care about anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zachary Richardson says, now that you've all played Tribes of Midgard, what is your quick opinion on it? Can't wait till side quests for more discussion. Can't wait to play with all my friends and family.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Fun.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like legitimately pretty good. I'm worried that I wouldn't play it by myself because of the repeating nature of it.
Right.
It's almost got like a roguelike structure, and I don't know that it would hold my attention by myself. But with friends, I could definitely see having some fun with this game.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to learn the loop of it to understand what works with the quote-unquote meta of how to build your base and all that. And if you don't like base building and base management, then you could definitely get disinterested in it fast. But the actual like leveling and getting stuff and going around exploring the map is really cool. So I think it's a good game. I do like it. I had a lot of fun playing it.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious, how is New World, Mylan? Like, did you plan on playing it when it drops?
Yeah, I'm gonna play. I mean, now that it's been delayed because it was just
I got pushed to the end of
season,
September,
basically. So now we've got a full month basically to get through the next Destiny season, and then it will drop. So that's actually perfect timing. I played about 40 hours of the alpha, so I obviously liked some of it. And then I probably played not so much as of the beta because I didn't have too much time. But I got to experience a dungeon, which was really cool. I really enjoy the grinding, is very satisfying. The combat, like single combat's really cool. It's got I don't want to say Dark Souls-y feels, but it's the closest thing I could think of. Like, it's not just auto-target, I guess. It's not just auto-target enemies. Like, you can parry, you can block, you can roll. If you have heavy armor, you stagger less, but you can't dodge as far, and you can really combo your equipment with bleeds and staggers and all this kind of stuff. So, like, that's actually really fun, and you can sort of move into higher levels if you're really good at, like,
so actual action RPG.
Yeah. However, when you get more than one person, it feels much more like a typical MMO where it's just like a lot of effects, when you get 3 or 4 people, it's just like heal bubbles, AoEs, and you're not dodging anymore or parrying or trying to you just basically
spamming,
bonk it with a stick until they fall over. So that's sort of like and that's fine because then it becomes more about your build. But I think I sometimes think like New World markets it on its like difference in combat. And then when you actually get to the end game, it's really like, when we did a dungeon, we all just reset our stats and I put all my points into like healing. And I just ran around with the staff and I healed all my friends and I upgraded my staff to do all these different heals. And then My brother did full tank, and my other friend Sassy went full DPS, and it actually felt cool because we had to like really spec into our roles, but you don't get to like parry big bosses or have that ability. It's all about like really RPG elements when you start getting towards like the end. But
cool.
I think it will scratch. You know, if you like MMOs, I think it's probably worth a shot, to be honest.
Nice.
Ringo the Dingo says, if you were a serial killer, how would you eliminate your victims?
Barbecue.
Serial, however, is spelled with C.
It's cereal.
Like breakfast cereal.
Rat poison?
So, like, I'd go with an eraser. Like, you'd erase all the ink that all the cereal mascots are drawn in.
Wait,
slowly
so you're
erase
killing
them
the
from the feet
mascot?
up.
You're killing the cereal
yeah.
Specifically?
Oof, I don't know. I'm going to go after the mascots, I think.
Yeah, see, I thought when he said like that pun was we're eating the cereal, like we're serial killers.
I thought the weapon was the cereal. I thought the weapon was the cereal.
Okay, so we're using the cereal as a weapon?
That's what I thought.
I'd use grape nuts. Whatever it is. I don't know how I'd use it, but I know that shit is deadly.
What are grape nuts?
Grape nuts are like pebbles that people eat for some reason in milk.
It's like sand. Chunky sand.
Imagine like taking coral reef and kind of like crunching it down into like very small pellets and then eating it in milk.
As a kid, I always preferred.
What is it? Is it grapes?
No,
it's
called grape nuts, but I don't know. Actually,
granola kind of thing.
Right.
So as a kid, whenever I had grape nuts, because my mom would always buy it, what I would do is pour it in a bowl and then put milk in there and let it sit for 5 minutes because it needed to soften it up.
Wait for like 7 hours.
Didn't want to consume it right away, otherwise you're gonna be like
crack a tooth.
Yeah, I mean that seems dangerous. That seems like a very dangerous cereal. let's pick that.
So there it is.
Akiem, AKIEM says, hello guys, fans of the show. I just wanted to know when you'd add retro slot to the Twitter bio. It's confusingly absent. Is that also a reference to eating what the fuck?
Eating briar.
I don't know. That's a misstep on our.
We probably haven't updated
that.
the Twitter bio in a long time.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that is
slip past sometimes. Clancy says, Clancy 5000 says, do you think Destiny could have a Mandalorian style TV series? Hell yeah.
Sure.
Yes,
definitely.
Easily.
Yeah. Netflix come in with a big old stack of money and just make something happen. Hopefully with, a good rating.
Like you could do a western with a space western with Shin Malfair, or you could do a horror if you included the Hive. They could go in so many different directions with Destiny.
The Mandalorian could take place in Destiny universe honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some Star Wars nerds really upset with you right now, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like you just like kind of like chop away some of the Star Wars specific stuff, and that easily translates right into Destiny.
Right. Yep. Well, technically, it's a galaxy far, far away, so it could be happening at the same time, just different galaxy.
True enough. Long time ago, though, right?
Yeah, it's true. But Destiny's like different time. Yeah, I don't know. Time space.
Back out.
What's the lore on that?
Let's not talk about timelines. no, let's not talk about timelines.
Josh says, whose idea was it to actually glue Pope's beard to Fallout's face? It was probably Pope's.
I think it was
I don't
Pope.
know, though.
I think Pope had the plan.
I think it was Pope.
Could have been Fallout, actually. Fallout's pretty wily on those crazy ideas,
I'll do 3 more questions.
Cool.
Takarito says, what's your comfort food or snack when you're feeling down?
Comfort food or snack? Feeling down. Always up for a slice of pizza.
I like donuts. Donuts are good. Depends if it's like desserty or either pizza or like donuts.
A Bismarck?
Depending what I feel like.
You like the jelly-filled donuts or just a glaze classic?
Just classic glaze, like fresh glazed donut. That would hit the spot.
They're still warm. They're actually
Yeah.
they're incredibly good.
I want a donut right now.
I haven't had one of those in years. God damn.
Yeah, I bet. I don't really eat when I'm feeling down. I eat when I'm bored, I guess, which I guess is kind of the same. Popcorn. Like I love throwing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
It's just
salt
fun to
or
munch
butter,
on.
both.
Like the movie style popcorn.
Yeah.
I could always eat pizza though.
Pizza's good.
Victor B. Rich says, "What Pokemon would each member of the DCP crew be? Also, anyone checking out Pokemon Unite?"
No on the
Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, I don't plan on playing
that. Is that the?
It's like a MOBA.
Yeah.
It's like League of Legends with.
No, I don't really like Pokemon. I don't really like MOBAs, so not a whole lot there for me.
Double Strike.
I played it. I don't think I'll continue playing it, but I played it. It wasn't bad.
Are there any Pokemon that eat other Pokemon? Like cannibal Pokemon?
There's got to be.
Right?
There's got to be a Kirby kind of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you eat them and consume them. I mean,
Kirby's a
Lickitung
Pokemon, right?
Licks everyone. Well, you can lick everyone. I mean, that's close as you'll
that's
get
Watts.
to eating them.
Tefty's Pika Police.
Pika Police. No, I'm the Sand Dick.
Yeah. That's a good one too. Is that a real one? Sandick?
Yeah, was it called Diglett, I think?
Diglett. Yeah, okay. Sandick. I don't know. I don't know enough Pokemon.
Same. I'm not versed in Pokemon.
Bofa says if one day you were stuck inside of a grocery store for a week, what store of your choice would it be?
Costco.
Any grocery store. Yeah, you'd want a big one that has a variety of activities.
Activities in the grocery store?
Yeah,
the hell?
like
food.
You're in there for a whole week.
Oh, do you mean like a deli, a bake?
Oh,
I'd want one that has like a grocery store inside of like a bigger department store. You know, so there'd be like TVs and furniture and some clothes. You want to?
I feel like you're bending the question here.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Costco's, yeah, you could buy clothes there. Costco's got jeans, jackets, shoes, lawn chairs. It's got computers. It's got iPads. It's got monitors. It's got Xboxes, PS5s.
Yeah.
It's also got your groceries. It's got
if you need
huge chip section
of instant coffee, it's got that. If you need a
20-pound bag of frozen
jar of mayonnaise, it's got that.
20-pound bag of mangoes dried. It's got that. I mean,
yep.
Costco's where it's at. Need to chill out.
Steak?
Go into the freezer.
We don't
really a whole cow.
We don't have the equivalent. We don't have the equivalent of that here. We don't really have a place that's got food and everything else. Actually, we don't have a place that has everything.
We've got lots of them. Like Walmart is like that, right? They've got food and everything. Target, some Targets are like that. Some Targets I don't think have grocery stores in them.
I think Aldi's probably the closest because that sort of sells food, but it also sells like a bunch of weird stuff.
Fishing
ALDI.
Yeah,
Is that place was started by Nazis? Did you know that?
no.
Yeah,
Wow.
the guy was I think the guy died in the 70s, but he was a Nazi. The guy who originally started it.
Right.
Just like that last Pope we had, Nazi. That's gonna do it.
Now someone's going to clip that because I got called a skinhead last week as well. So now it's all out. No, I'm totally stuffed.
No, I'm not calling you a Nazi. I'm saying that guy
No.
who started Aldi.
No.
I don't know what your political affiliation is.
Well, it's definitely not Nazi. I can tell you that right now.
That's comforting.
You can come back.
Oh my god. Man, from grocery
It's going
stores to that. Is that it for the the questions?
Yeah,
We nailed it. We did them all.
killed it. Once again,
Congratulations.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. My God, professional. So glad that we solved the sliding debate too. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, easy.
put
Easy
Twitter to
pickings.
rest once again.
Yeah, just
Twitter can sleep.
soothe the
tonight.
nerves of the dragon of Twitter. Well, thanks for watching, Mylan. What are you going to be doing this week? Where can people find you?
A new lore video will be out Sunday night talking about Shayur and Shin Malfur, and
Nice.
I'm gonna give
Spicy.
Back for Blood a shot on stream tomorrow.
Nice.
as well.
Cool.
Should be cool.
Awesome.
It's guys that made Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
And Back for Blood. It's been a lot of fun. And people can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, all under Mylan Games.
Awesome. Briar, what you going to be doing?
Probably faxing things over to
And laminating?
mortgage brokers and laminating.
Faxing and laminating things?
Faxing and laminating. I'm trying to buy a house, and I just put in an offer for a house, so we'll see.
Congrats.
Oh, congrats.
You know, that shit takes a ton of time. If you guys
Yeah.
ever bought a house,
Yeah.
it sucks. It's like the worst.
I've been
The
close.
fact that
So
anything in life where you need a special person that understands that system, i.e. law,
Yeah.
real estate agent, you know that it's going to be convoluted.
Here's the hidden truth about everybody in like the real estate world too. They're all fucking dummies. All of them. they are so unhelpful. They don't know what to do with it. It's like you have to figure out what is your job? Okay. Now how do I learn your job well enough that I can force you to do it in a timely fashion? That's how that works. Anybody who's bought a house will agree with me immediately.
that's great. Well, I'm Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter, and I'll be checking my my pager over the weekend, getting those faxes and pages. You know, maybe Briar's gonna fax me.
And relaxing and chat.
Faxing and relaxing. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Shout out to our Patreon members and also our Twitch subs and everyone just watching and chilling. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week for more stuff and things. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.